Can we please have a roll call of council?
Cawthorne.
Here.
Hall.
Here.
Kennedy.
Here.
Mullins.
Here.
Powers.
Here. Thank you. We'll move on to the consent calendar.
Before we do that, I need to provide this information. And this will become more evident as we go through it. So Mr. Greg Whitaker was here last week. And we have had several conversations with the Commissioner of Revenue about that situation. Mr. Whitaker brought up some things that created a lot of questions. So I have reached out to BML and asked for advice on how we should proceed. So if you will look at the documents in front of you, the first one.
Can we just put this on the agenda?
No.
This is as we done at the start.
BML has advised that we should not be having a meeting, and I want everybody to understand why before we get that far. So if you look at the first page, this is Greg Whitaker's deed. And in the first paragraph where it says parcel 1, it notes that the property is located in the Robertson Magisterial District. So the test for being in corporate limits versus not being in corporate limits, part of the Commissioner of Revenue, is that statement. If you flip over a few pages, the next deed you're going to find is the one conveying property to Curtis Mullins and Fannie Mullins. That property also says in the Robertson Magisterial District. That's in the lines, 2 lines up from where it says track 1. The last deed is your deed, Mr. Cawthorne. So the language in that deed at this point says in or near the town of Pound. And then in the very first paragraph, it says beginning a boundary, it says situated near the town of Pound. So when I spoke with the Commissioner of Revenue, he said it certainly muddies the waters. Had Mr. Whitaker not shown up, I wouldn't have looked at the deeds at all. So when I discussed it with BML, their advice was that we not have a meeting or have any notes at this time and try to clarify. And I certainly I don't want you to be excluded from something that you should be a part of. So at this point.
Well, I'm comfortable with having a meeting, and then just whatever happens, happens. I've been paying my taxes ever since I moved here, and so let's just go ahead and have the meeting.
I do understand.
And if it's null and void, then we can deal with that after.
On the advice of BML.
Right, so the last 15 years would have to be null and void.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that would work out.
Yeah. Okay, well, we go ahead and have the meeting. We'll be fine.
I would say per the advice of BML that we should not have the meeting.
I mean, if I'm being consulted about this, I think that whether or not to move forward with the meeting would be a vote of council. If council wants to move forward with the meeting, I mean, I think that because through the consent calendar, you have to approve the agenda.
Right. We're not even, we've entered the meeting, and this is something that's not on the agenda.
But you can vote to approve the agenda, or you can vote to have an empty agenda and adjourn, right?
Good.
I mean, it's up to council.
Then I would make a motion to have an empty agenda and adjourn.
Okay. Well, we have a motion on the table.
As long as you all vote.
Is there a second to that motion?
Good to go.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, this is just an interesting tactic to keep us from voting on whether or not we want the county of Wise to give us a prospect of a disincorporation agreement. And it's just like October surprise. She never went to the attorney, which means she's not really serious about this. I've been paying taxes since I moved here, 2011, 2010. I mean, the town would have to refund my taxes if they said I wasn't in the town. I mean, this is just a bogus attempt to delay this meeting, which could have a major impact on the taxpayers of town. And so I am going to just refuse to accept the Vice Mayor's premise to try to thwart this meeting And I say, let's have this meeting, because in the last 15 years would have to be null and void if I wasn't a part of this town. And if I'm not a part of this town, then I want my tax money back. So, anyway, I'd say let's go ahead with the meeting, just like we have in the last 15 years.
Well, again, I would never have gone looking at the deeds had it not been for the fact that Greg Whitaker showed up. What he said was that he was always told that he was not in corporate limits. And he said at some point, Belva Bowling had tried to add him to the town limits, but they didn't want Curtis Mullins.
So what do you want to do? Wait 5 months,
I'm
and
sorry,
then in
I'm
5
not-
months we
I'm not
reach
finished speaking.
She's
I'm
in charge of
in
the
charge
meeting, he's
of
the mayor.
we
Don't-
wait 5
yes,
months,
you are. I'm not
and
finished
then
speaking.
we don't do any business for 5 months.
I'm not saying wait.
This
No,
is-
they're
this
gonna
is-
do
this is
Right.
ridiculous.
They're going to do business in that town hall, it just won't be with council's
That's
approval.
right, and with the people knowing.
Yeah. So let's just.
Okay, let's.
again,
And is there any more discussion?
Yes, there is, because I didn't finish my statement.
Go ahead.
So when Mr. Mullins said that, or Mr. Whitaker said that, I did reach out to Doug Mullins, and he's looked at it, and he said, it's certainly a situation where the water is muddy, can't be determined from this. At what point did the deed change from being outside to in or near, which is, again, muddy water. And then I reached out to Carolyn Whitaker Stroud and asked her, did your parents ever pay taxes in the town of Pound? And she said no.
They live above me up on the hill. And if you see where that line is, it's between my property and their property.
You actually live in the Curtis and Fannie Mullins house.
I don't know who lived there before me. I know the Tompkins did, and they were in the town. And then there was a young couple that lived there before me, and they were in the town.
That's the Curtis and Fannie Mullins house.
I think it's at the top of the hill, his house. The one at the very top of the hill. It's not my house. Mine's the one before you get to that.
I'm aware.
So this is just a political tactic to delay the January meeting so we can't get disincorporation at all on the ballot in November. And I refuse to be played like this. And if it was a serious thing, she would have told our attorney so he could have consulted the whole council.
If I could clarify, Leabern and I did speak briefly about this earlier, and I wanted it raised in council if it was going to be raised at all, so you all could discuss it, because I represent the entity, right? Not one particular member or any particular faction. I think that, just to speak to, I think Leabern's went through the correct channels. I don't think she's bypassed me or anything in that regard. I just think that this is something, as my legal opinion to the town, this is something that needs to be looked into, but as far as the question of whether or not to have a meeting, that is up to the members of this body. It requires a majority vote to decide to not have a meeting, in other words, or decide to have a meeting, whatever you want on the agenda, it's up to you all, but you do it by majority vote.
Okay. Anything to add? Anything to add? Okay. Well, is there any
So
more
what is the motion? Will you read the motion after
I'm
this?
lost, you read it.
Okay, the motion is that we have nothing on our agenda for this month and that the January meeting in effect be canceled. Would that be
And that is
your
And if I,
good summary?
and if I could, before we end discussion, are there any particulars you can tell me about what the email advised and why?
What they said was that it was best if we did not have a meeting or any votes because of the muddy waters.
So their advice was basically it's best to not have a meeting, because if it does in fact turn out that Mr. Cauthorne does not reside in the town of Pound, he was not lawfully elected.
Right.
Well, we can have the meeting and then you can get your friend Tim McAfee to sue me. That's fine. Like you did Stacy. So anyway,
Yeah,
I said have the meeting.
contact my lawyer if you want to discuss that lawsuit.
So I will, I'm willing to have the meeting. I'm willing to have the risk.
Well, is there any more discussion? Can we have a roll call vote of Councilmember Kennedy's motion?
Cawthorne,
No.
Hall,
I guess I'll have to go no this time too.
Kennedy,
Yes.
Mullins,
Yes.
Powers.
Really?
Yes, really.
Just from what I've heard, I'm gonna have to go no.
And we will proceed.
And to clarify for the clerk and the record, that vote was whether or not to approve the agenda.
Encourage it, which is
To
zero
approve,
items.
to approve any agenda. Yeah, that motion was to,
To change the agenda to have nothing on it
right.
and to adjourn the meeting. That was what that motion was.